From the late Rian Pfeiffer of Overberg Agri. He said that if your vision doesn't scare you, it's not big enough. And I think this is something that we need to take that home with us if we're in conservation agriculture. I remember sitting on a bale at a farmer's day at Jack Heeman in 1985, sitting next to a then very good wheat farmer from Caledon. And he asked me, what is conservation agriculture? This CA thing, what is that? It sounds like contagious abortion, because I've seen the field next door and it didn't look good. So there's a lot of questions being asked, maar met in Afrikaans te stel, baie van ons is verskoning konings. We've got the best excuses not to do something. Maar op hierdie toer het ons geleer van dit, hierdie afgelope week. En ek wil die bespreking begin. I want to start this discussion by asking a few people a few questions. Ek wil begin deur vir Pieter Burger te vra, wat het jy geleer op hierdie toer? Waar is Pieter?
Ons het gisteroggend op Bredasdorp begin. Ons het by 3 produsente aangegaan. Ons het goeie reën gekry deur die nag en moes toe een van die manne maar kanselleer, want ons sou op geen manier op sy plaas kon opkom nie. Eers het ons by my pa gedraai daar op Bredasdorp. Hy het 'n tyresleper vir homself gebou en ook 'n lekker apparaat om dit te vervoer van plaas tot plaas. En dit het vir hom baie goed gewerk. Hy het die meeste van sy graanlande gesleep met dit. En ons het die een slagpol gegooi op die plaasie en ons het geen slagprobleme gehad nie. So vir hom het daai stelsel in die kort termyn gewerk. Die terugvoer op dit was, jy maak jou stoppel seer, jy sleep hom oor die plaas en as die wind kom en waai jou stoppel in jou grond weg. En dan het jy ook weer geen deklaag nie. Toe François, hy is ook vir ons weer ook inligting gegee oor sy komposteerstelsel en sy bevindinge daar, en van daar af is ons Caledon toe met Heinrich Schoenveld te gesels oor sy stelsel. En hy het ook, soos Johannes, het hy ook 'n full cropping stelsel waar hy op 'n 3 stelsel is, en dit dis koring, gars, en dan die derde jaar is dit of 'n lupien, of 'n haver, of 'n canola. Wat ek moet sê, wat ek geleer het, dit maak 'n man se oë regtig oop, hoe verskillende mense hulle eie manier doen, en hoe hulle sukses van hulle eie plaas maak. Die probleem is, ons, soos wat Phil sê, ons het maar probleme, ons sê, ons kan nie deur die stoppel nie, maar daar is 'n oplossing. Jy sal 'n ander planter benodig, of 'n groter trekker, maar daar is maniere. Die probleem is net, alles is kapitaal insentief, en dit is nie 'n ding wat jy sommer net dadelik kan doen, en die geld uit die sak uithaal en sê, right, ek begin nou dit, jy gaan net klein moet begin, en dit is vir ons moeilik, dit gaan vir ons 'n lang pad wees, om te kom tot waar die FAO se definisie van conservation agriculture wil hê ons moet wees, regtig bewaringsboere te wees. 'n ding wat ek nou sien uit hierdie hele storie as 'n oplossing, is maar om jou lucerne en jou grane van mekaar te skei, skaap op die lucerne te hou, maar probeer om nie die skaap op daai stoppel te gaan sit nie. Maar dit is ook, hy het nou weer sy eie komplikasies, so dit is net 'n moeilike saak, en mens gaan baie diep daaroor moet dink. Ons wil finansiëel volhoubaar boer, en ons wil volgende jaar ook nog weer kan boer, so oor die langtermyn bewaringslandbou is die pad om te gaan en dit gaan al die voordele wat daar mee saamkom is goed, maar dit gaan ons lank vat om daar te kom. So moet ek klaarmaak. Dankie.
Baie dankie, Pieter Burger van Bredasdorp. Ek wil dan ook vra vir Aubrey Rigter uit die Swartland uit, om vir ons net weer te gee wat het hy geleer op die toer wat ons in die Swartland weer gegaan het.
Ek gaan hierdie geleentheid gebruik maak om meer te sê wat ek moet. Ek glo in die volgende: gebed, reën, bekalking, medics en dan grootjies en kool. Ek glo nie aan 'n baie duur plantel nie, want as jou stelsel reg is dit nie nodig nie. OK. Dankie aan die bure wat my inspireer het om medics te plant, want vanaf dit gebeur het boerdery 'n bietjie makliker geraak. En Kobus Bester, besoek aan jou, dit was 'n adrenalien-inspuiting geweest. Want ek het gesien daar is nog veranderings wat by my gedoen kan word ten goeie. OK, die antwoord. Die week se besoek. Is dit na die week se besoek is ek seker ek kan my kunsmisrekening 'n bietjie afbring deur klein veranderings te maak en in my stelsel wat ek op die oomblik het, net deur my medics te verfyn. Waar ons vandaan kom, reën dit nie altyd so baie nie. Kunsmis raak net duurder. So ek dink dit is wat ek het van die week. Baie dankie nou.
Baie dankie, Aubrey. Ek wil dan ook vra van meneer Andre Roux. We heard on the tour a lot of good farmers' reasons why disc planters are not at this moment liked in the Overberg and in the Swartland. Mr. Andre Roux is head of our resource management unit at Elsenburg, and he's also an engineer. I would like to hear from Andre if it's possible that we can have some help with sorting out this disc planter problem, especially like the old mower planter with a problem with the bearings. Is there a possibility, Andre?
Yes, Charles, thank you for the question. I think we might be able to help. We will just have to look at it very carefully, because if you want to suggest making changes to specific implements, you have, of course, have to take it up with the manufacturers themselves. But I think we'll have to look at this holistically and see where we can investigate, make recommendations on what could be done to improve the situation, and then discuss it with the manufacturers. But we're willing to assist in that regard.
Thank you very much, Andre. Now, I'd like to open the floor for questions. Please identify yourself by saying your name and also by asking the question to the person you want the answer from. Thank you. Any hands?
And in English.
Yes, Ralph would like to have the question in English, if it's to him.
Charles, Prof. Ralph, I think just in short, the one thing that stood out this week is that we're going to need a hell of a lot of more ground cover to get closer to the science that you're trying to promote. I think we're still way off because of three guys that spoke here today aired their problem with disc seeders in our specific areas. The one guy was Kobus. I think you can remember that he said they carried on with it for a couple of years, and then they realized that they don't get the root development that they would have loved to see, and I think, correct me if I'm wrong, that the crop yields dropped. Second guy was Julian Spreder, that showed us pictures where they were seeded with a disc seeder in sandy soils as opposed to a tine seeder in the same soil. And the difference was very obvious. And I had a private discussion with Johannes, and he said to me, there were two problems with a disc seeder as far as he is concerned. He tried what was available, and he reverted to the tine planter, particularly for two reasons. Now, one reason, they couldn't stop the phenomenon of hairpinning of the straw. He went as far as trying to sharpen up the discs with angle grinders. That even didn't help. And the second thing is, he had unacceptable germination. That's why he's back to tines. I'm not saying there's not a resolution to this problem, but I think we're still a bit way off with this. I'm not sure what to do in the meantime. I'd love to go that way, but purely what these guys said scares me. And maybe you've got a suggestion about how one can tackle this and how one should go about this. Thank you.
Ek moet net hier sê dat ons weer moet teruggaan na Rian Pfeiffer se visie. As jou visie te klein is om jou bang te maak, is jou visie te klein. Ek dink dat displanters maak ons bang, so ons moet hom uitsal. Ralph, your view.
The thing is that there are dozens and dozens of disc seeders on the market. And as it is with seeding machines, I mean, any machine that works in the soil will show if it's good or not once you have put it in the soil. It's a little bit a problem with seeders and with tillage implements, that you can say, gee, there's a new implement and it should be good for the soil. Or a new disc seeder and it should be good to the soil. But you have to test it first if it works or not, or doesn't work. There are rubbish machines on the market also. So if you think of the Brazilian manufacturers, there are about 15 Brazilian manufacturers capable of exporting. There are also about 15 Argentinian disc seeder manufacturers capable to export. But which one is the best one of these 30 that I'm mentioning? Probably the one that has got a service and a representative here in South Africa. Because if they do not have a service section, then the best machine will not help you. But I think that what you mentioned, that disc seeders failed, they cannot be so bad if they are used on only in 50 million hectares, on only in two countries, Brazil and Argentina. 50 million hectares. So they cannot be that bad. The thing is finding the proper machine for your environment and your conditions, and it has to be tested before. It's not a thing to say, well, we're going to go into the internet, we're going to look at the machine in a catalog, and then we import it because we like it. As you have heard also, Johan can also tell you something about it. He had a disc seeder that the year before did not work well in stone because it had rubber wheels running on the side of the disc, and these rubber wheels would go up the stone and take the disc out of the soil, so it would not seed properly under those conditions. You have to adapt the machines, and perhaps you should know that in the United States, even there, where they have plenty of choice of equipment, many people buy a no-till plant or buy parts of a no-till planter at one company, other parts at the other, at the end they end up having 3 or 4 manufacturers that send them part of their equipment to build up a no-till planter, because the planter that are on the market do not fit their own needs. So I think that in no-till agriculture, the successful farmers, and this has been shown also in Australia, the successful farmers are those that are able to see a machine or buy a machine and then make the necessary changes to adapt the machine to their own conditions. Because the manufacturers cannot build a machine that's universally usable under all conditions. They have to have certain standards to sell it, but you may need to adapt the machine to fit your specific condition.
Any further questions?
No question, just a comment, Daniel. So, Australia sit with the same issues, and one for asked Mike Ashworth, Dr. Jack Debelay, and El Camille Tola from the University of South Australia to research the topic, and they brought out a publication called Disc Seeding in Zero-Till Farming Systems, where they take a look at everything that's on the market, and they discuss in the book all difficulties and problems experienced in different soil conditions, and they really went into it, and I'm pretty sure you can get it from one farm. They sent me a copy. If you want to have a quick look at it, I can show it to you, but they really go into depth into it and discuss all the detail. Thank you.